السلام عليكم شيخ.
Godspeed, Cheikh.
Few minutes here. Inshallah, I'll go ahead and go stuff on one of my favorites aside from Cheikh and Dubamba, Rabbi Karimun, Rabbi my Lord, and Karimun is generous. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وإني أعوذها بك وذريتها من الشيطان الرجيم ربي أعوذ بك من همزات الشيطان وأعوذ بك ربي أن يحضرون بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله تعالى على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما ربي كريم واسع ويفضل ووسيلتي عبد لديه مفضل ربي كريم واسع ويفضل ووسيلتي عبد لديه مفضل بيكي وفاخري قد زالهما معا بالمصطفى من سبقه لا يجهل يا ربي صل على الحبيب محمد والآل والأصحاب من قد فضلوا حجارة صل على الحبيب محمد والآل والأصحاب من قد فضلوا أزكى صلاة مع سلام والهدى رضوانهم يا من لوجهك عملوا لك كالخليل لك جوشتي أخنيتي لك خربتي وموتي والمنزل لك ملبسي وياحتي ما أوهي ولك مداد ومشربي والمأكل قبلي ما تهب وترتدي بمسكن التي لك تنزل أنت يا علي وأنت علي راعيا وإليك قصدي راجيا لك أرهل ناجيت ربا واسعا قد قاد بالجود والإكرام نعم المزدل هو مالكي هو نافع هو رافع هو واسع وهو الجميل يذنلوا ملك له شرف وغرب وحده وكذا له دار وبحر يهمل واجله متواجه بالمصطفى وبأهل بدر رفعة من كملوا رضوانه من ذوقه إفاه عليهم وعلى رفيقهم الذي يتكفل سيف ضاحك يرتج بهم الخيرا ممن يكرم يشاء ويفضل وليت الله والله مدبرا لله بالقرآن نعم المنزل أعي به وبخدمة المعين وهو الذي من أصله لا يزال عبدا له ويصدق لما يستحيل وعليه جلال له أو توكلوا ناجيت رتبتها وارتجي أني رجيا عنده قد يدل أبلغنا وعلى الوسيلة ساليا يا من يقدم من يشاء ويفضل. Favorite song because every other line, so Muhammad rhymes it with Fadilu, considering Fadilu, considering Fadilu. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Straight off the bomb is a polymath, y'all. All praises.
God's peace, everyone. I'm hoping that everyone having a fantastic Juma. And I'm thankful for this very moment. I'm thankful to be in association with, very high vibratory frequencies in the form of our Sheikh Jedi's, so to speak. First of all, I want to say a stop for the law for, not just honoring Allah. So, alhamdulillah, our praises be to Allah. And I'm going to start, the topic of this discussion will be on the effectiveness of one's adab. I know I have a lot of friends, who study, esoteric philosophy and engage in many practices hoping to, expand their spiritual capacities or to be able to manifest the desires of their heart on this plane. And a lot of people forget that one's adab is just as important as certain spiritual practices, because one's adab reinforces one's intentions when one is reciting zikr, and it brings more positive energy when we know that we're in line with the teachings of our Sheikh. And I also would like to add that we should also try to contemplate the station of Kadim Rasul. And I was reading a little passage. It says, you wander from room to room, hunting for the diamond necklace that is already around your neck. And also, a Zen master said, enlightenment is when a wave realizes that it's the ocean. When you realize who you are through these divine teachings, you have, no other recourse than to walk. Like they said, the prophet, peace be upon him, they said that the prophet was the Quran on two legs. And I think in this day and time, we need to be able to show what we know and walk what we believe. And I think that's a very powerful testament in these days and times, as low as the vibratory frequency is in everyday society. I when I was initiated into, what you call zikr, some call japa, my teacher told me that if I practice long enough, that it would bring fearlessness into my heart, and it would, become very hard for, fear to really trouble my spirit. And he gave me a specific number, a day to recite, this zikr. And when I first began to recite this zikr, the issues that I had with my character showed in my zikr practice. I lacked discipline, so I wasn't able in the beginning to, fully carry out the practices with pure intentions because I was selfish, I was ignorant, and I lacked discipline. But as I can continue to practice zikr, the scriptures, so to speak, came to life, and something just awoke in my heart. Like, through God's grace, He within us gives us the capacity to do those things which please Him. And I feel the more we please Allah through our actions, our everyday conduct, through longing to love deeply God all around you, even some of the people that you may personally have a distaste for, Allah exists within them. And when you work on your character, because a lot of times people don't get better, we have to get better to see better. When you continue to work on your character, God, through His grace, reveals Himself and that thing which you may detest at that time. So I would encourage, not just simply, mindlessly carrying out spiritual practices, but I would say to evaluate, to appraise oneself. And you will first see where you err, and that is a mercy from God, because there are many people who walk this plane that cannot see their error, cannot see the suffering that they cause themselves or those around them. Perfecting the adab is one of the greatest mercies as so-called human beings that we could manifest on this plane. I seen teachers, gurus, who had renounced everything, who had no material possessions, but were very happy, content, and just an upright human being. For us over here, sometimes in the West, it depends upon what we have. Can I still be happy and praise Allah in me when I don't have any money in my pocket? Or, when things on the job aren't going according to plan. We have, I don't want to be arrogant and say we have superior spiritual practices, but we have very powerful spiritual practices that, if implemented consistently, one has no choice but to see results. It is said amongst, the Sufi circles, if you work for the Sheikh will pay you. And I believe if we totally dedicate ourselves to God, even though it's not for reward nor punishment, is I believe God will reward us. And you will begin to see a lot of things drastically change in your immediate environment. I'm not speaking speculatively. I'm speaking from my experience. I've seen times I zikred for uh, a particular thing that I desired. And as I desired that and I practiced zikr, my character began to change because I really believed and started to behave as if this manifestation was before my eyes. So the prayer or the zikr not only strengthened my resolve to manifest that thing that I longed for, but it gave me confidence and humility and character, knowing that I serve a powerful God that will allow me to participate in the manifestation process. So I would, encourage those when it comes to spiritual practices is to always check your intentions, always look at yourself. You know, are we being too selfish? And when we receive those things that allow us to manifest before our presence, are we truly grateful? Because when we start to see the manifestations of the longings of our heart become manifest on this plane, it's God giving us evidence that these forces are for real. And there are some things that I would like to share, um, with the Darrah that, might sound kind of ridiculous, coming out of my mouth and hard to believe. So I won't, tell that story. But, I will say that continue to polish.
Tell it.
Oh my God. Cheikh.
Irafal.
Wow. Uh I had I was going through some turbulent times, and I had a friend, and that friend was sitting in the car with me, and I was going through a little something, and I felt like that I wanted someone to listen, and I became selfish because I really liked that friend. So I thought in my heart that that friend wasn't gonna leave my side until I was finished having the conversation that I needed to have. And the friend recognized it, but the first time the friend said, because a stock for the law, it may be um, they may have been, using a left-handed cigarette, so to speak. But anyway, my friend's excuse was that they were high and couldn't move, not knowing that I wouldn't allow them to. So I ignored my friend's statement about being stuck and couldn't move and continued the conversation that was on my heart. And as I was approaching the end of that conversation, my friend looked at me sincerely and called me by my name, my government name, looked at me and said, "Glenn, release me." And I threw my hands up, and that person got up and walked out of the car. All I'm saying to say that is energy is real, and sometimes our energy is so powerful that we are not even aware when we're working the sciences we think we're practicing to attain. Um, and it has happened, on numerous occasions. The more you perfect your character, the more you contemplate the station of your shape sincerely, it expands your capacity to express your natural capabilities. And it can get scary because the more you love God, the more God gonna show you. And people may not catch it or see it, and sometimes he'll allow people to see that energy and how effective it is, around you. Um, I'm just off of humbling myself, before God, and not being afraid to really offer up the longings of my heart. Because we think that we long for those capacities, that power, but it's just our immense love for God. We long to be in a natural place. He made us beings of power, real power. And the sciences give us understanding, but our Adab keeps those boundaries so that we don't take what God has given us, what Allah has given us, and misuse it. So, I just challenge, my brothers and sisters in these turbulent times. They always say, and it's true, that the light is in the east. But there comes a time where this light will shine magnificently in the west, right here. If you look at even from a negative, even if you look at it from a negative experience, a lot of our young people that are misinformed and are frustrated due to the extent of things and maybe carry themselves really rashly. Collectively, we are tired of the status quo, and our spirit is crying out to Allah. And He is so merciful that he he's gonna answer. Astaghfirullah, I can't presume to know, you know, God, in that way. But I feel in my heart that checking yourself, keeping your staying on the deen, mastering the basics. A master is a master of the basics. 5 daily prayers. All of these things keep us fine-tuned. It's like you haven't tuned your instrument, but you want to go on the world stage and play the best song. We have to keep our instruments in working order so that when we hit those chords, those vibratory pitches, shakes the hearts of those who don't want to bear witness that there is no God but God. So, that's the essence of what I have, to say is we have phenomenal abilities, but we cannot acquire them without perfecting the adab and polishing the heart. Your heart has the ability to not only reflect that energy, but project it. And the veil is so thin at this time that it's almost easy to become a cosmonaut. you know, and be astro traveling around different dimensions. We have access to what they call the Akashic records, but it doesn't take so much outside study as it does studying oneself and studying oneself again. And when you think you know, studying again. But the teachings of Sheikh Amanu Bamba, the spirit of Sheikh Ibrahim, um, we have everything that we need. It's just a matter of putting it to work consistently, not just when we feel good. Get up and pray when you're tired. Get up and read and study when you just don't feel like it. When you put in the work when the average person don't feel like it. See, that goes back to one's character. When you have a strong character, you'll do the right thing even when you don't emotionally feel like it. So the one that is consistent in perfecting his adab is going to be the one, ordinarily that are going to manifest the capacities or the gifts of Allah. We have to, as some of the old Christians used to say, put our hands on the plow and stop looking back, unless it's to bring somebody where you are. So I just, encourage the Darrah, because you are a powerful people, possess so many different qualities. There are so many brilliant minds, from understanding the stars, from understanding the proper diet, to yoga, to meridian points. It just, I couldn't list all of the abilities that just this Darrah has and that can be enhanced just by polishing the heart. I know only two ways that I have practiced to see a little something, and that is zikr and fasting. I feel like if you are sincere, zikr is an entire prayer. I might just say, Ya Allah, but my heart, what I miss with my words, my heart filled it in. So it becomes a complete prayer. Zikr is a very powerful prayer. They practice zikr even in the Bible. When they talked about the so-called walls of Jericho, and they walked around the walls 7 times, knowing you got 7 heavens within you, they weren't breaking down the external wall. They were breaking down the walls of their own doubt, breaking down the walls of their own ignorance. Our zikr is not so much to defeat the outside world, but to combat our own ignorance, which blocks our capacity to reflect the attributes, as minuscule as we do, but to reflect the attributes of Allah. So, that's really, if anyone have any questions, I'm up for questions, or, individuals want to, I guess, share their experience, because for a long time, a lot of those spiritual gifts, I'll say, I thought was beyond human reach, until, I began to experiment with my children and those around me. And, without sounding crazy, other things as far as electronics, I might get them impatient at the light and think, oh, well, I'm gonna be quiet. Anyone that has anything that they would like to share, I kind of keep it simple, because the way is simple for the dedicated. It's very complicated for the lazy person. That's what I like about uh my bifall brothers. Sometimes you can work this body until the spirit don't have until the spirit breaks out of its cocoon. Work is prayer. Work is the way to unlock certain things. So I'm gonna kind of end, with that. Forgive me if it wasn't as exciting or research based. A teacher told me, he said he don't practice what he preach. He only preach what he practiced. So I've shared a little bit of
Yes.
experience. I didn't want to speculate.
Bismillah. Yeah, Sheikh, no need or room for speculation. You hit on two big topics, and those two words, those two topics can be turned into a khutbah for next Friday and the Friday after that at the mosque. Just speaking on love and adab, love of Allah, like you said, the love of Allah within yourself and the love of Allah within somebody else, and your adab, your character, what you know is right, whether you want to do it or not, or whether you just can't figure out a way. And inside of between, Cheikh, that's how I found you when I couldn't find you, just based off those two words, love and adab. I love that, brother, and I knew I had to do something, right? I like that ring, Cheikh.
Thank you. I think Hugh gave it to me.
Far out of I mean,
But does I would that was very insightful, and that was the truth. There was a teacher who taught love, simplicity, and truth. See, in society, the more complicated something is, the more we think it's the truth. In the spiritual world, sometimes the more simple it is, the more profound truth it is. And that's not always for the open, person. Like I said, those who are totally committed to Allah, those that would lay their life down with a smile, knowing that the blood with me even during my time of trial. And not just believe that, but know that within their heart.
I got a bag.
I mean, it's just different, man. Some
Oh,
of us out here like soldiers, me myself, one last example. My friends
oh, that's
know,
it. Thank you.
my friends know, and some people in the Darrah know, but I was I was shot, 5 times, and left, in the street, for dead. And during that time that I was laying on the ground, I thought that I was gonna be afraid. I thought that I was gonna be thinking about my children because I have 7 children. I thought I was gonna be thinking about my wife, but and I thought I was gonna be kind of upset at the person who did it. But all of those things went away when I thought that this spirit was gonna slip away from this body. All I could do was thank God for the opportunity of life. And when I felt like that was it, and I had laid there for so long and nobody came, I said, well, it's my turn. And when I was willing to transition as smoothly as possible, Allah sent someone to help me. Just as I was making my peace with God. I'm not saying that death isn't a serious thing, and that people don't go through things because, there are people been shot 20, 10 times. And, there are people in wheelchairs, paraplegics. There is a lot of suffering. So I'm not going to speak on the world suffering. I'm going to just say zikr works. When I was on the ground, I was just thanking Allah with sincerity and willing to give it up. And I can't help but to look at life different. Not because I'm a tough guy, not because I'm an educated guy, but because Allah is powerful. And he will comfort you even when it's your turn to, in the spirit, meet him. So I just encourage those to continue to practice zikr sincerely. It works. It really works. I wasn't supposed to have been walking as fast as I was, but I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. By the time I got home, I didn't even rest. I was already walking the streets with my walker, smiling, because Allah refused to allow the darkness to overwhelm my soul and take my joy, even though they tried to take my life. I harbored no hatred, more disappointment, but no hatred. Not against, I don't mean to sound, like I'm just for a particular people, but not against my hue. I don't have that hatred. It may sound when, individuals, or I may be critiquing, individuals, but no hatred. God is bigger than that. And if we say we love him and we want what he has, then when our time's up, we ought to be willing to pass if he blesses us to be conscious enough to witness our own physical demise. I thank him for that opportunity, because I would have never known that he gives that type of strength that will comfort you even when you think you're about to be in a different dimension. So I just encourage the Darrah, just simply stay strong. And the only way we can do that is perfecting the character, polishing our heart, staying on the deen, being a master of the basics. We're looking for enlightenment, but the 5 daily prayers will enlighten you. Zikr will enlighten you. Sincere scriptural reading will enlighten you. Following your Cheikh will enlighten you. It's simple. I think a lot of us are just looking for something so abstract and profound that we miss what's right in front of our face. We're searching for God, but they said that Allah's closer to you than your jugular vein. So we need to start the search at home in our hearts first, and then look outside and gain more. That's really all that I wanted to share. Any questions, or anyone who's had similar experiences? I mean, I've me I don't know if the Cheikh is still on, but I remember when the Cheikh, graced my little town, and we walked around, and we were going up to his room to the hotel. And it was a young man that just kept following us, and he didn't say for what. And I asked him, because I felt it on my spirit. I said, man, are you in some kind of trouble? Do you got to go to court? He said, man, how do you know? And from there, it opened the door for the Cheikh, to give him some teachings. And I think even gave him a book to read. All I'm saying is when you, Cheikh, you could tell the story better than me.
I don't even remember the story, fam. I've been too many places.
Yeah, that's true. You've done some great things, but that was one that shocked me. And I think that I was able to pick up on his energy because I was around such high energy. And I can't, thank you enough for that, man. Just coming to um my little town, talking to the people, my uncle and folks, man. I just, thank you for, gracing us, with the presence of a Cheikh. Fanafi Cheikh. But
I must say one thing I loved about being in Wilson, North Carolina, walking through the neighborhood with Sheikh Sincere, I'ma just tell it. He's friends with the dope fiends, people on drugs, alcoholics, and when he walk up, you think they seen Jesus Christ, the man, brother. The work you doing in your little small town, I should get your picture and wear it.
a stock for the law, Cheikh. Hey, but thank you, man. I've like many in the Darrah, we've learned a lot from you. All we had to do was be brave enough to utilize what's been given. And, all praises be to Allah. I always remember that. I remember, you walking down the street from my house and we making prayer in the projects. You remember by the tree? And and cars going by didn't even matter, man.
And the prostitute tried to give me some.
Hey, I mean, I don't like to keep going back to the Bible, but when your spirit is high, like those people that were disoriented that wanted to do something with the angels, you know what I mean? Their energy had you thinking crazy. You don't know if you in love with it. You want to. Hey, just thank you for who you are as a person. Thank you for being humble and receiving the teachings and then giving the teachings to us.
Did she take her shahada and bay out on the
Yeah,
porch?
she did. Yes. She took her shahada and bayat. And I don't even know how you got her calm enough because she was talking out of mind. I don't even know how you got her calm enough to recite bayat.
I remember clearly. I said, Miss, would you like to say some prayers from Africa with me? When I said prayers from Africa, she's like, yes.
She's very, I find being around people like that. I was, and around, individuals, that have, certain chemical dependencies or not. But I've heard God speak through some of those people, like scared me to death. I was somewhere doing something I ain't have no business. And the brother was very high. I'm talking about like chemically high. And he just said what I was thinking and what I was afraid of and didn't know he was talking about me. He just was talking out his mind. God allowed me to have ears to listen. And he was speaking about my situation without being aware that he was being used to give me a message. So I stay humble because I know if a donkey could be used to, teach someone that has spoken with God, so to speak, who can I look down on? God chooses, he just merciful. I just seen it too many times. The people that are despised and lowly and looked down on, I've seen them give some of the highest knowledge. And that just means that, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. We just serve a merciful God. I submit to him. Yeah. And I just learned something today, which I'm in violation, because when the Sheikh is speaking, we don't supposed to be doing a whole lot of talking and agreeing, and we're supposed to be listening and taking in that water that you're giving us who are parched to drink. I didn't know when we were walking together that I really wasn't supposed to walk beside you. I either supposed to walk behind you or a little in front of you. I didn't know the proper etiquette. I just thank God that you are a loving Sheikh that, looked over the mistakes of a Taliban. And just thank you and continue to put in work, Sheikh. Barke Sheikh Sufi. Yeah, that's right.
I ain't gonna tell them about the time period when you was doing 50,000 zikrs a day. Did I say you was doing 50,000 zikrs a day, brother? You was doing more zikr than everybody in the Darrah at one point, man.
uh I like you always said, Zikr will get you drunker than quicker than liquor. And it's the truth. You didn't lie, Sheikh. We work on ourselves, acknowledge where we error, and humbly cry out like a baby longing for his mother over and over and over again. I don't know no baby in the vicinity of their mother that when they hear that baby cry that they're not going to answer. And the baby not speaking, a language that most people could understand, but the mother understands. So we got to cry out. We got to cry out sincerely, like we don't want anything else. And it's the truth. We I don't want anything else, Shay. You remember I think it was me and brother Bilal, and we were having a discussion. And I don't know if it was just because I was around your energy, but at that time I felt so good that I felt like, man, Allah could have took me right then and it would have been all right. It's it's good to be around people scribing to express the God in them. And some of us, that's all we want. I don't want power just for the sake of power. And it's nothing to prove because all belong to him. But like I said earlier, sometimes you have to show what you know consistently through your character. You'll overcome a lot of obstacles. And even if you can't overcome the obstacles, Allah in His grace will allow you to decline gracefully. They'll be talking about you for 100 years. I ain't never seen nobody exit the planet with such pristine countenance. I just don't want to. I want to finish strong. I don't want to start strong. I want to finish strong. I want my ending to be just as pleasing as my beginning on the spiritual path. I might not finish first, but I want to finish. Man, this was a pleasant surprise. I got to hear the Sheikh's voice. Wow.
I got to hear the Sheikh's voice. What you talking about?
Stop. Just happy to hear from you. Hey, and forgive me about the first hotel. We don't supposed to do that either. Do a lot of joking, but forgive me about the first hotel.
Don't mention that, brother. Don't tell them where you had me staying. Woo-wee. Don't mention that, brother. All praises due to Allah. You got me a place to stay.
Yeah, hey, I'm still saying the stock for the law for that. Man, I don't know what I was thinking because they were good Hindus, you know. At least I could converse with them. They just didn't tidy up too strong. But on money pot me hum. I see the jewels in the Darrah. Time for us to amplify our frequencies to the point that it disturbs those lower vibratory frequencies. Energy, vibration, and frequency. We channel these things naturally.
And I hate to paraphrase. I just had this Kasai quote in my head, but the first two lines from the first spring, Cheikh Bamba, even though it's purely summer right now because it's hot as Jahannam outside, but in the first spring, Bamba describes the power and the Kasai's that he has put out. And when we read it, we can see how much power is within it if we were to read them and study them and do things like the Sheikh said and put these things to practice. In the first frame, Bamba says that we offer laudations. Laudations is like prose or singing songs. But we offer laudations to the remover of our pain, that being Allah, that put rhythm and measure and prose to shame. Those first two lines, we offer laudation so strong to Allah, the remover of our pain, that what we cry out to Allah is so strong and so powerful that it puts rhythm and metrics and prose and rhyme to shame. And the thing that does that starts right in our heart, yeah, right in the heart.
Called. Is that how you say it, Sheikh? Called.
Called.
And behind that, Latif is another name, right?
Taketh thine hand out of mine pocket, good sir. Yes.
I want Latif. I want that type of spiritual heart that's gonna spook that darkness. They not only don't want to stay around, they want to run away if their intentions are not what are supposed to be. Sheikh Sufi, if you still are listening, it's 7:56. I don't know how long we usually go, but I thought it was about an hour. But if you could just make dua for us, man, it would be greatly appreciated.
أعوذ بالله بسم الله إن ولي الله أعوذ بالله بسم الله إن ولي الله أعوذ بالله بسم الله إن ولي الله Barke Sheikh Sincere. 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 We pray by the blessings of Sheikh Sincere that all of us become sincere in our search and quest for Allah, and that this manifestation of light coming from us will cause all of those in our presence to become sincere seekers of the light of Allah within themselves. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Malik Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. اهدنا صراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد عبدك ونبيك من حضرت ربانية والعناية إلهية وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Kufi tu kula dalarin yallahu bisiri la ilaha illallahu. Habli muradiya kama huwahu bisiri la ilaha illallahu. Yasir liya usra kama huwahu bisiri la ilaha illallahu. Ala nabiyul mustafa yallahu salibi la ilaha illallahu. Salatan mubin bisalamullahi. Bisiri la ilaha illallahu. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. الفاتح لما أغلق وكاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقدار العظيم. Barke Sheikh Sincere. 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 A day will come when we will not be looking for masters in other countries. We have masters like Sheikh Sincere in America, and there are other masters in this class, in this Zoom right now, and people will be saying by the blessings of your name when you get to where Sheikh Sincere is. And the Sheikh is at the station of all of the Sheikhs that I met in Senegal that had power, and that's why I'm saying today, Barke Sheikh Sincere.
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 All praises due to Allah, and I only could.
Sincere.
Mm-hmm. All praises to Allah, man. I love all of y'all, man. Thank you. Let's keep making dua for each other and making sure our batteries stay charged. And God's peace.
Amen. God's peace, Sheikh.